Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. You can see me moving around here with my virtual background. Sorry about that. Guys, I'm actually recording this Sunday night. I typically record Fridays or Saturday mornings, a little bit late here, but I've been gone on to a week at the beach. And so again, by the way, stop. Forgive me. You can see I'm out of rhythm. Thank you, everyone, for listening last week. Just the feedback was amazing. I'm thankful that you guys just continue to tune in with the likes, the shares, the comments, and especially the reviews. So thank you. But I am a little out of rhythm. I was gone on vacation for a week at the beach, and really, I did my best to kind of disconnect. Listen, I definitely worked. I don't want to think anybody should have the impression I didn't work. I worked a couple hours a day, and I definitely monitored things on my phone. But I think I learned some lessons this week, and they were painful lessons that came from silence. The painful lessons learned from silence. So here's what I mean by that. Typically, I'll go on vacation and I'll listen to a bunch of podcasts and I'll read a bunch of business-based books and a bunch of novels and I'll watch a bunch of movies, and because those things are relaxing to me. And then of course get time with my family and walks on the beach and playing and that kind of thing. But I didn't really plan or expect to happen what happened. Because all my kids are adults now, they all showed up at different times. Amy and I got there first, and then one child, and then the next child, and the next child. It took 48 hours for all of us to actually get together, so the pace was different. And we got there, and Amy and I immediately went deep. We started having some conversations, which were really good for us to have. But the pace of the first day was slow because we were waiting for everybody to get there. And I don't know what I was thinking. I only brought one business or growth based book. I knew I should have grabbed two, but I grabbed some novels. Well, I immediately jumped into this book. It's called, I've mentioned it before, called From Barista to Billionaire by, I think, Andrew Wilkinson. And by the second day, I was done. And so here it is. It's Tuesday, and I'm done with personal growth business books. But I really didn't want to read more. It was interesting. And yeah, I went running. So I mean, I listen to podcasts while I run, but typically podcast time also includes cruising around town and doing things like that. And so I didn't do any of that. We were kind of secluded where we were. So I only listened to podcasts when I run, and part of the time there I was listening to music. So I wasn't putting in that normal amount of content. And then this really wasn't just to sit around and watch movies vacation, so I didn't do that. Um, I they also had a jacuzzi there, and I'll be honest with you, I love it. And so sometimes multiple times a day, I would just go sit in the jacuzzi for 15, 20 minutes alone and just sit. And this openness of time and silence. I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm not reading. Um, I'm not as busy as I typically am. I'm taking extended time to just think. It was painful. And the pain wasn't that I wasn't filling my time with noise. That was not it at all. It wasn't one of the ones like, oh, there's not enough inputs. That's not what the pain was. That I was going into depth with the thoughts that I had. No, it's not that I'm like, ooh, I'm a deep thinker. It's just that, I mean, I was the work relationships. I was allowing myself to go deeper than normal. And probably the space was provided there from the silence and the lack of activity. I'm sure of that. But man, just I began to think of like the impact, and it wasn't like a problem solving thinking. It was well, what's the real status here? What's the diagnostic of work, the diagnostic of relationships, the diagnostic of myself. And this analysis was painful. I like to think of myself as an objective person, and maybe I wasn't as objective as I thought. And I was even going to bed, and typically I just zonk out when I go to bed. But instead, I was going to bed, and don't worry, I mean, I went to sleep like normal, but my thoughts were still there on those things that I was thinking through. And the silence became painful and elongated. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good and application that came from it. I mean, I walk away with some absolute clarity in a few areas, relationally, work, personally. I come back with a few to-dos. I don't walk back. Often I'll come away and from vacation with a brand new business idea or even a new business, like Capitalized Coffee was formed out of that. But that's not the case here. I don't come back with A, B, and C, and I don't come back with a new business. I come back with a better understanding of my business. I come back with a better understanding of myself. I come back with a better understanding of some relationships. And again, it came from painful silence. And it was probably midweek when I began to realize that's what was going on. I was like, wow, this is an in-depth introspection that I have not had in a while. I began to long for the days to be shorter, right? And don't get me wrong, we're playing pool down in the basement, and we're cornhole, we're having fun along those lines. But I was like, wow, this is work that needed to be done. I was on my phone about 12% less. Should have been a lot more, but I mean, like I said, I still had to work some. And it was amazing. We got in the car to come home, and it started like it was about a 4.5, about a 5.5 hour trip because of traffic. The first hour, I was still there. I was like, okay, okay. But then I put on a running podcast and went deep into that. And then, we were having conversations, and I was listening to Amy's music. And then I put on another podcast, and it was those thoughts are still going to be pursued. But I think all of a sudden it was like, whew, it's just not quite as painful as it was. Because honestly, I just felt like I couldn't stop thinking. So I look forward to the week. I look forward to the application of the things that I've learned. I know this probably sounds very vague, but it's pretty much all I can give you. I look forward to running. I look forward to jumping into business. I got a seminar this week. But my encouragement to you is, it's hard to even recommend, make space for painful silence. Silence is good, and some of us make place for it, but like, are you allowing yourself to really consider diagnostics for business and relationships and personally? I don't want to do this again anytime soon. I mean, I always want to go on vacation, and I will, but I mean, I don't want the painful introspection of this past week again. I feel like I've run a marathon mentally and spiritually. So I look forward to changing things. I look forward to growing in the appreciation of things I've learned, but it would not have come from painful silence. So those are my lessons this week. I think if you can find an opportunity where you're not as busy and your thoughts are honest and constructive, doesn't mean you have to have a solution, but they're constructive, then I would encourage you to take that time. But wow, for my busy pace and for my normal inputs of noise and data and all that stuff, this was a tough one. So wonderful vacation, not discrediting the vacation at all, but it was something more than I had expected. So and not planned. I mean, and it all came because I didn't decide to have a second book, I think. But very thankful and can't wait to see what happens next. So, friends, thanks for letting me share this. It's been more of a personal diary. I hope it has some application for you. And I can't wait to talk to you again next week. So, friends, hang in there. Thanks so much. Hey, if you are in the real estate industry and you want to come to the seminar on Thursday at 2, just reach out to me. I'll give you the registration link. Okay, friends, have a great day. Talk to you soon. See you next week.